I'm so proud to be from this city. You know, they say if Kamala wins, then the whole country will be like Detroit. Okay?
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering. Have you left a like in the video yet? Have you followed me yet? Have you subscribed to the channel yet? We're in the home stretch to election time, and I sure am looking forward to getting back to talking about things that aren't election related. But that's what's going on. Kamala Harris is getting desperate. She's been desperate for some time as the polls are, the national polls, trending towards Trump. We've got a lot of work to do yet if we want to keep this communist out of office, but it's trending the right way. What does she do? Deploy more celebrities. More celebrities that joked, gloated, celebrated, taking private jets to go tell the poors how to vote. And it's completely backfiring. And you'd absolutely love to see it. Let's get into this. Let's get into the story. Pop star Lizzo ripped online after saying the whole country would be like Detroit. Well, I don't want to disparage anyone from Detroit. I'm sure there are good people in Detroit, but I also know that I would assume that people in Detroit know that there are problems there. There's a lot of crime there. There are whole sections of that city that have been abandoned where you could buy houses for like $5. Detroit has problems, like most big Democratic cities. That said, there's lots of good people that live there, but I think it's fair to say that it's not the ideal. Pop star Lizzo was ripped online after she claimed that Vice President Kamala Harris, if elected president, that the whole country would be like Detroit. She's probably right. She's probably right. Harris appeared with the Truth Hurts singer at a rally in the Motor City Saturday, where the two sang the city's praises after former President Trump had disparaged it at an election, an appearance in the Detroit Economic Club last week. I mean, here's the reality. For a candidate that's always whining about Donald Trump caring about millionaires and billionaires and this and the other thing, she's got Mark Cuban, billionaire, literally campaigning for her as a surrogate because she's afraid to go on talk shows. So they send Mark Cuban, or is it Rachel Maddow? I don't know. They're difficult to tell apart, I'm told these days anyway. And you end up with just a disaster like this. She calls in another millionaire to tell the poors how to vote.
So happy to be back in Detroit.
I bet you're not.
All the best things were made in Detroit. Coney dogs, Fago, and Lizzo.
Fago, you're poor. You know Fago, right? You're poor. Unless she's trying to stump to the ICP fan. Pretty sure ICP fans are down with Trump. Actually, I don't know. The singer echoed former president's sentiment, but attempted to put a positive spin on it. They said if Kamala wins, that the whole country is going to be like Detroit. And so she went on to say, proud like Detroit. I mean, proud like Detroit, falling apart like Detroit, all this stuff. I don't really understand why anyone would think that's a good idea. Why anyone would think that's a good idea. I mean, I don't think there's a lot of people who are like, hey, I want to be like Detroit, where I can't leave things in my car. The automaking hub was once the center of American industry, but has seen a significant economic downturn as American car manufacturers offshored jobs and the country began importing more foreign automobiles. Gee, if only there was a thing, if only there were a thing that could stave that off. Is it called a Larif, a Marif? I'm trying to remember exactly what that might be called. Is it a tariff? Social media users were quick to pan the good as heck singer's claims. Lizzo said if Kamala wins, the whole country would be like Detroit. As she spoke in the Kamala rally in Michigan, does anyone else see a problem with that, or is it just me? One account posted, my theory is that has been that Democrats know everything is about to collapse, so they actually want Trump to win. Comedian David Angelo wrote in a post on X. I mean, disastrous. Then, of course, Kamala Harris publicly agrees with protester accusing Israel of terrible crimes. Look, I don't know exactly what Israel's been up to, but I assume not all of it is good. This is going to break from Donald Trump, or going to break from Joe Biden. She's trying now to court the woke left, the far left. And why is that? Well, look at the polls. The national polls are in, and according to Atlas Intel, which was last year's most accurate poll, Donald Trump actually leads by 3 nationally. Leads by 3. Look at these polls. 4 of the last 5 polls. Trump up 3, Trump up 2, Trump up 2, Trump up 2. That's national. That's national. Emerson has Harris up 1. Now, before that, the week before that, it was all Harris. Harris plus 3, Harris plus 2, plus 4, plus 2, plus 3, plus 5. That was 10-11 to 10-13. A week later, that is a massive switch. Massive switch. I mean, I don't know how. I mean, look, I wish there was more time. You know, people talk about, like, I wish the election was in December. Because the more time that passes, the more she talks, the more people go away from her. You see, it remains 60-40 on Polymarket, which again is directional. I'm surprised it didn't change very much, given the Atlas Intel and the tip polls coming out as Trump plus 3, Trump plus 2. But again, ballot printers can go burr. All sorts of shenanigans can happen. Nothing's over. Then you see this. Lizzo releases a video of her boarding a private jet to campaign for Kamala Harris in Detroit. This is how bad bees save democracy. At the rally, Lizzo said Kamala wants America to look like Detroit. Detroit is currently the most dangerous city in America, according to MIRA Safety. With one of the highest aggressive crime rates in the nation, Detroit consistently ranks among the most dangerous cities. I mean, this is a private jet. I thought you guys were about the environment. Or is it only the poors have to worry about the environment? Only the poors have to worry about the environment, not the rich people.
I'm so happy to be back in Detroit. You know, all the best things were made in Detroit. Coney dogs, Fago, and Lizzo. I'm so proud to be from this city. You know, they say if Kamala wins, then the whole country will be like Detroit.
No thanks. No thanks. Big no on that. Big no on that. Absolutely massive no on that. I also think it's pretty interesting that 2 weeks ago, Usher, who said on The View that he doesn't like to get political, he's not going to endorse any candidate. Then P. Diddy gets arrested, and suddenly Usher's on stage in a fur coat, stumping for Kamala Harris. I wonder why that is. Now, look, I don't know that there's any connection here. How could I know? How could anyone know? I don't know if there's a connection here, but I do know that the recent polls are not looking good. If we look at the battleground states, let's just take a look at the battleground states. Arizona, Trump leads by 1.6. The latest poll has him tied. CBS News has him up 3. It's a toss-up leaning Trump. Nevada, this one was very close, was leading Kamala for a very long time. The latest Atlas poll has it tied with Trump up 0.8. He needs to win it. Wisconsin had been leading Kamala. Now, Trump up 0.2 in aggregate. The latest Atlas Intel has Kamala Harris up 1. Trump needs to spend some time in Wisconsin. Trump needs to get some work done in Wisconsin. If we look at Michigan, Trump leads by 1.2 and has led in every poll since the first week in October. Pennsylvania, where the election largely will turn. Atlas Intel, Trump plus 3. Rasmussen, Trump plus 3. New York Times Siena had Harris plus 2, but that was way back on 10-7. That might as well have been a year ago. Trump currently leads by 0.7, but obviously he's pouring basically all of the gas into the fuel, into the fire, and trying to win Pennsylvania. I think he's at the Pittsburgh Steelers game today. North Carolina leaning slightly towards Trump. Now, it's difficult to know for sure how North Carolina is going to turn. A lot of people feel like with the disaster that was, the hurricane response, we might see a stronger Trump turnout. I think it's going to be, obviously difficult to predict. Georgia, Trump has a strong lead there, but needs to win it. Look, if Trump wins Georgia and Pennsylvania and any one of these other battleground states, he wins the election. So that's why he's spending all his time in Pennsylvania. You know what I mean? But he can't forget Georgia. He's got to make sure he gets Georgia, and I'd really like to see him do what needs to be done to get Wisconsin. I think Wisconsin is ripe to flip, but not yet. Kamala Harris is desperate. She's trying to re-recruit the far left. She's trying to recruit Hollywood celebrities like Usher and, I don't know, Ben Affleck's ex-wife, the one that does the Capital One commercials. Does anyone even care about Jennifer Garner? Trying to tell the poors to get out there and do her work. Do the righteousness work. Well, right now there's a 20-point discrepancy between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. I'm hoping that continues to grow. I'm hoping that continues to get up bigly into the 20s, 30s, 40s. I hope Trump wins the national popular vote. But bringing in musicians and Hollywood people, look, if your opinion is swayed by a Hollywood celebrity, then you should probably lose your voting privileges. You know what I mean? If some idiot in Hollywood who doesn't care about you, do you think these Hollywood people even know what the real Detroit looks like? Yes, there are good parts, and there are absolutely good, hardworking people in Detroit. There's no question about it. But at the end of the day, Detroit is not ideal. And to pretend to bring these millionaires and billionaires into Detroit, why doesn't Lizzo live in Detroit anymore? Maybe you should ask her that question. I'd say this was a big mistake. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like on it, and we'll talk to you again real soon.